Jakey.
Yeah.
We're back in the garage.
I'm back in the garage.
Let me see if I can go back a little bit and make my head your size.
I'm not back in the garage.
If that's the case, right? Figuratively, but for real. Yeah.
I do. I have a tiny head. I'm not gonna. I don't even. I wear a 6 1/7 fitted hat.
Jake, that was an ego joke. Apologies to everybody for the poor lighting here in the garage, but basement's in use. Basement studio's in use at the moment. Let's get into it, Jake. I got some start sit that I want to get into, but some specific names I'd like to hit right off the bat. I kind of want to. I wish I had more time. I was going to create a wheel of Le'Veon Bell and just spin it, and any team he landed on. But Jake, that
would have been genius.
Thank you. LaDainian Tomlinson did a Reddit Ask Me Anything today, and they asked him where he thought he would go. And his two answers were New England and Chicago. We don't hear a lot about Chicago. I think everyone's deeming Kansas City the leader in the clubhouse right now because he liked Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes liked him back.
Chris Jones.
Yeah, I mean, like, Chicago, though, would be kind of interesting, I think. They obviously lost Tariq Cohen for the season. They don't have that second back. We thought it was going to be Artavis Pierce for a little while. It really wasn't. People kind of liked Cordero Patterson. He's kind of stayed steady with his targets and runs. FanDuel's actually taking money on where he's going to land.
I saw that.
What about Chicago? I mean, LaDainian Tomlinson probably was in this situation. Actually was kind of in the situation where he went to the Jets kind of late in his career after being associated with one team forever. Did not have a great Jets time, and I think things went sour there, if I remember correctly. But does that make you kind of think it's the Bears? And would that make you kind of think maybe I should lessen my David Montgomery shares?
Yeah, I think here's a problem is, the game that you have to play with this is people could say, well, let me get rid of my Clyde Edwards-Helaire, shares until he's not an RB1 anymore.
Right.
I don't like to say, people asked in the rankings columns, like, where do you think is his best situation? Where do you think he's going to go? And I don't want to play that game because I don't want to say, oh, I think it is Chicago. It makes the most sense because I don't know anything. You don't know anything. I'm pretty sure Le'Veon Bell doesn't even probably know until he decides at the last minute. When he decides, that's the only person that's going to know. So if I tell you to sell David Montgomery and then he doesn't sign there, then what happens? So sell David Montgomery if you get David Montgomery price. Sell Clyde Edwards-Helaire if you get Edwards-Helaire price. That's the only way I'll do it. I'm not going to sell any of these guys cheap. And if you can go the opposite and get Edwards-Helaire cheap, if you can go get Montgomery cheap, then I would, because the cheap cost is worst case scenario. He does sign there, and then you got him for cost. If he doesn't, now you made out. It's like playing the stock market. So what I say for Bell's value in Chicago, I actually think the two situations I like the best are Chicago and Miami, because I think you would push Myles Gaskin aside. And I think people are underrating the Miami offense in general. But I think because you'll have the massive workload there, and then with Chicago, I'm not a David Montgomery fan. Like, he's been look at what he's done the past 2 games.
You've been very clear about that throughout.
10 rushes, 20-something yards. 10 rushes, 20-something yards. He's been saving his fantasy value because they don't have a passing game option, and then he got that touchdown against the Bucs. If Bell goes there, I think Montgomery gets kicked to similar to the Chargers. I think that Montgomery would be like at a 40% of the 60-40 split.
That'd be interesting. Speaking of splits, I want to hit Arizona. Before we get some questions, we got a lot coming in. Just shoot them in the chat on YouTube, down below on Facebook. I think on Twitter you just tweet in the replies and it shows up here. Jakey,
that's kind of cool.
I know, right? I don't know how it shows up. I've never actually interacted with it. We're just here and they magically appear. Chase Edmonds versus Kenyan Drake. We talked a little bit about this on the Athletic Fantasy Football Podcast this morning with Eric Moody. But just to get your take on this, in the start-sit situation, I don't think too many teams have both of them. I don't think Edmonds was going in drafts as a handcuff so much as kind of like a challenger to the throne. If you have either one of them, and I think you have them very close in the rankings anyway, are they safe to start as a running back 2 now that we're hitting the bye weeks, or do you prefer them more as a flex?
Prefer them both as a flex, and but the bye weeks you might have to start them as a 2. The one thing I will say on top of that, because I see a lot of questions for trades every single week, but I see a lot. You saw the names I shot over in Slack. The one other name I did leave out was Kenyan Drake and Chase Edmonds as a combination. A lot of people, and I don't say it because they're trying to trade them. I say it because a lot of people are trying to trade running backs, and that ends up being the RB2 on their team after the trade. I would not do that. You can't put a split RB3 flex running back as your number 2 going forward just because the value is there. Like somebody said they were getting Michael Thomas and I forget the running back that was an RB2 and a wide receiver they didn't need. I said, you know what? Yes, it's good value, but you still can't do it. I would love to say yes, but you can't, because now you're starting Chase Edmonds every single week as your RB2. You can't do that to yourself. So yes, the bye weeks makes them probably in the low end RB2 conversation. I like Edmonds a little bit better, but I don't think it's going to be. I don't see either one of them going away. As in, I don't think Drake's all of a sudden going to be 70%. I don't think Edmonds is going to completely take over, and Drake's going to be non-existent.
Who's the one with the more trap door? Who's the one with the lower floor that we'd be talking about?
I think it's Drake.
It's Drake. Like Drake's,
because if somebody's going to lose the job, it's going to be Drake.
But Drake has been so steady. I mean, he has 4 games of 60 or more rushing yards, which only 3 other running backs have.
It's David Montgomery's steady.
Jake, I know we said we weren't going to answer any questions until a little bit into this, but we got a very important one from Oak City, Austin. Is that a Doug and Charlie Brown mashup shirt there, Jake?
It is. Very good. Very, very keen eye. Yes, that is Doug Funny as, there you go, instead of Snoopy and Charlie Brown.
All right. Nice. Weird. But okay, cool.
I told you most of my shirts are crossovers if you haven't noticed.
I don't remember you ever telling me that, but I believe you.
Yeah, like the one that I wore on the shirt.
He thinks
yesterday.
It's awesome.
Thank you. The yesterday one was Team Steve. It was the one from Stranger Things, but it was the MLB logo. But it was Team. It's him holding the baseball bat with the nails in it. By the way, since we're sidebarring, I keep licking my bottom lip because I sneezed and it split my lip when I sneezed, which is like one of the worst things in the world. So I don't want to be like I'm sitting here and licking my lip a lot. That's why.
Interesting.
Well, it's just because
pointing that out. So totally unnecessary point out, Jake. Thank you. I'm sure everybody appreciates
people are like,
that.
why am I licking my bottom lip?
Yeah, a lot of questions. Time. People asking why you're licking your bottom lip. Jake. Really, Chase Claypool. Over here, Jake. Jake, over here.
I'm listening. I can hear you.
Chase Claypool. What's the highest you're starting him? How high? Actually, let me ask you this: how high did you consider putting him in your rankings this week?
How about where he is, Americans?
Well, I mean, yeah, but where he is, people can go read that. But all right, where is he and how high? Like, did you have to talk yourself down a little bit on Chase Claypool or talk yourself up?
No, because, I work with projections. So I do a lot of that. And then
as you project him, you're like, well, I could see him getting 8 targets this week. No, Jake, I can only see him getting 7.
No, so I do projections, then I go back, and then I move myself for my own football opinion, mind, and stuff like that. That's why, like last week, Travis Fulgham, projections said he was like the 100th best wide receiver. I moved him all the way up to 70 something around there. So, right. Situations like that, I had, I'm trying to think who else last week. There was a couple, but I have Claypool right now at 24. That's with no Deontay Johnson.
All right.
So if Deontay Johnson comes back, he'd probably slide down to about I'd say Landry Chenault range at 30-31. Not that far just because of his upside, but he's in this same conversation because the names he's alongside of, as I just mentioned, those two right behind him is Edelman, who's been disappointing, Gallup, who could get left out. We don't know that Andy Dalton's immediately going to make Gallup better. T.Y. Hilton, who's been disappointing, Higgins in a tough matchup. So he kind of deserves to be in that boomer bust because he's the wide receiver 3.
Chase Claypool and T. Higgins, huh? Who would have thought, Jake, 6 weeks ago?
I definitely didn't think either one of them, mostly because I assumed both of them were the 3 this year. And that's why if Deontay's out there, I'm still concerned that he is the 3, but that would put him still inside the top 40.
Yeah. Jake, a couple of these questions while we're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who's wide receiver 1? And then thoughts on Juju. This might be the same answer for you.
It's not Juju at this point. At this point, if it's healthy, what did we say after the first 2 or 3 games? Everybody's like, oh, it's Deontay Johnson's the number 1 now. And then he gets hurt, and all of a sudden everybody's like, well, Deontay Johnson's not the number 1 wide receiver anymore. Well, I don't know about that. Juju Smith-Schuster's still just not seeing the volume. I've said this to you before. You better remember this one because it's Chris Meaney. It's not even me. Chris Meaney last year's bust at wide receiver wasn't a true bust, like he was going to be terrible. But his concern was that Juju Smith-Schuster wouldn't be able to handle being the number 1 wide receiver. And we lost the season because of Ben, so we didn't really have a tell. But so far this year, Deontay's been the number 1 when healthy. So I think it would go Deontay, Juju, Claypool if everybody's healthy, honestly. And to be honest, I think that you could see Juju and Claypool alternating games similar to like the Cowboys.
I mean, there is that school of thought that says Juju Smith-Schuster was very good with Antonio Brown and was not very good after. And that's unfair because of the quarterback stuff and Ben Roethlisberger not really being there. But, 6 games into the season, 5 games now into the season.
4 for them.
Sorry, Jake. I got a lot going on. I'm trying to look at questions. At the same
I'm
time.
helping you. I wasn't saying that like whatever.
Right? I mean, there's something to be said. Juju could be the number 3.
I bring up Anquan Boldin all the time, and after maybe 3 or 4 years from now, I'm not going to be able to because he'll be a little bit too dated. But I bring him up all the time because he's a great 1B that needed. Here, I'll give you a present day one. How about that? Screw that. Present day. Calvin Ridley. We've seen Calvin Ridley how much he struggles without Julio Jones, even when he's healthy. So Calvin Ridley can put up a 100-yard game without Julio Jones, but there's often times where we'll put up 40 because he's getting double teamed and bracketed. So Calvin Ridley could still grow. I give him a little bit of credit for that. And still, Juju is very young still for what people like. People forget how young he was when he was drafted. Both these guys can still grow. But as of right now, you're talking about top end corners or double team coverage to take you out of the game. And they're just not quite there yet to be able to be that elite guy who it doesn't matter.
Gotcha. Jake, who do I have on my list here? I want to make sure I hit everyone on the list because I wrote it in the video.
Give me a list.
No, I write little notes on the side. Dalton Gallup. Go.
Dalton Gallup.
Yeah, it's all right. The poll, we've got some polling here from Dalton Gallup. Andy Dalton, is he going to change the fortunes of Michael Gallup?
He could, but I want to say I'm glad you brought that up because everybody keeps saying, well, he looked Gallup's way a lot. Well, on the last drive, if you talk about when Dalton came into the game, he actually targeted Cooper. I was assuming these numbers are correct when I pulled them. There could be one target off somewhere. Some sites that late to the game or whatever. But anyway, when I pulled it, it was 3 for Cooper, 3 for Gallup, 3 for Lamb. All of them saw 3 targets when Dalton came in. It's just that Gallup's hit late, and everybody remembers that fresh because they were watching that drive late. So the truth is, yes, he could help Gallup, but what I talked about on the ranking show is I said we could see more consistency from Gallup.
Yep.
But it could hurt Cooper as in his ceiling, and maybe he's not a wide receiver 1 every single week, and now they're all wide receiver 2s and 3s every single week.
I guess we'll see, right, Jakey?
Yeah, that's the truth. Dalton doesn't have Dak's arm. That's kind of why you're concerned about some of the downfield stuff.
Our old boy, Shawnee. He's right, Jake. If you didn't bring it up, no one would know what you were talking about. Last one, Jake, before we hit a bunch of questions. Damiere Byrd. I don't know why. I just like bringing him up more and more with you every week, but no one seems to want to I feel like I got to be on record in every single media format of Damiere Byrd. Do it. That's very disrespectful to my Damiere Byrd question.
I just want to make it more awkward for everybody out there.
Forget I said. Well, if you would, you should get up a little closer, Jake.
So Damiere Byrd's actually, I think he was running the second most routes on the team last time I checked. But the problem is, it just comes down to Cam Newton. What Cam Newton's always going to be is Cam Newton's going to limit the passing game because he doesn't throw a ton and he's not as efficient as most quarterbacks are. We saw it improve that last season with the Carolina Panthers because they started giving him options similar to what the Bills learned from the Panthers. That's why they brought in Stefon Diggs. It's like, hey, an accurate passer, you bring in quicker guys who get open faster. You don't give them big bodies. Damiere Byrd, downfield threat. So with Cam Newton, you're going to need, 2-3 receptions on 4 or 5 targets, and they're going to have to be big plays. So I like Byrd, but that's my bigger concern is that he's, I'd say, a lesser version of Marquise Brown.
Question time. Let's get him, relatively fast, but give the people what they deserve. Is this the week to start Shenault? He was on the injury report with a hamstring, I believe.
No, the more important part is DJ Chark missed practice.
Yeah.
So DJ Chark, we saw what happened when this team is led by Chris Conley and Minshew. For the Minshew misery that happened on Thursday Night Football, I even tweeted that out earlier, and I moved Minshew down the ranks, and I moved Shenault down. Shenault and Cole, everybody's like, fire them up. Did we not just learn from Thursday night? When you take away somebody like Chark, it affects everybody in a waterfall effect. Could Shenault be nice? Yeah, I would actually have him as a wide receiver 3 if Chark is out there. I think he's a fringy potential bench option if there is no Chark.
Would you start him over one of the Arizona guys in a flex?
Over Kirk? Yeah.
No, sorry, I meant the 2 we talked about before, Edmonds and Drake.
No, I mean
right.
that's more boom or bust. I have Shenault right now, as of right now, next to Landry and Edelman. Similar players.
Ayuk or Preston Williams?
What?
That's a good one. Ayuk or Preston Williams?
Ayuk.
Give him a check the link.
Ayuk. Say it right.
Ayuk or Preston Williams?
Thank you. We're going to get you to say it right before the end
I got the hard part down.
So should I say check the link?
No, give him an answer.
It's Ayuk.
I think Srikanth has been on here before asking questions. He's a loyal viewer. Yeah.
Yes. So I don't trust Preston Williams off one game. That was mostly due to the fact that people forgot Jason Verrett, and not saying forgot because he had injuries. He's somebody that people forget. He's a very good corner if he's healthy. He took away Parker. He allowed 0 receptions on 1 target to Williams, and I think it was 2 targets for 1 catch for 6 yards, if I'm remembering correctly, to Jakeem Grant. He's back to being shut down corner. He took away Parker for a lot of that game, and it's more of a matchup situation. The 2 games prior, Preston Williams only had 7.7% of the targets. I don't think it's fixed from one game.
Jake, give me a huzzah.
Huzzah.
Give me another one.
No.
Come on, one more. Come on, we need them plural.
Huzzah.
Oh, Dave Richards here for the huzzahs.
There you go.
Shout out Dave Richard. Should be Fantasy Hall of Famer. He is in my heart right here.
Is he not?
I don't think so.
Dave, we need to rectify that.
Yeah, Dave, Fantasy Hall of Famer. Anyone who puts hashtag Dave Richard for HOF in their questions coming up here, instant answer from Jake. But let's go to no name. Galladay or Lockett, rest of season.
Rest of season?
Yeah.
I'll say I feel a little bit more consistency with Galladay, but that's just a lateral move. Wash.
All right. Who to start this week? Lindsey, Melvin, or Swill? Melvin, I assume we're talking Melvin Gordon, right?
Melvin Gordon's playing. He's not going to get suspended for this week. It would have to be a team action this week.
And that's a 3-game suspension in the collective bargaining agreement, right? I think I read that
most likely, yeah. But it's probably not till after this game, if not even potentially longer. But, if the team decides, obviously, the team decides he's out, it's Lindsey all day long. Right now, I'm not the biggest Melvin Gordon fan. I would still start Melvin Gordon.
Well, we had a question about, hold on. I lost it. Someone let us know in the comments that Adrian Peterson's on the injury report. There we go. Kevin S. Hey, gents, is a Swift time? AP added to the injury report, and there are a lot of DeAndre Swift questions coming in now, JK.
What's the report for Adrian Peterson? I'm looking for it right now.
I don't know. It just said Kevin S. says AP added to injury report.
Well, here, we'll do this live. Let me see what the injury report is, because is it limited and just it's not on this site yet.
No, all right.
Where are we seeing that?
Maybe Kevin's an agent of chaos and he's lying to us, Jake.
He's lying. If he completely missed practice, I've been wanting Swift to be a thing since day one. I still don't trust Patricia, and if Adrian Peterson is out there and healthy, I would love. Swift is in my boomer bust of the week. He could go off and finally give me 12 touches, and he could put up 80 yards in a score. If he's got Adrian Peterson out there, you still might see 6 or 7. And then if it doesn't, I will say this, if it doesn't happen this week, if Swift doesn't come out of the bye and get some Patricia love, it might not happen this season until Adrian Peterson is hurt, potentially.
Or Patricia's fired.
Please.
I don't know. Who's Darrell Bevell would take over? Darrell Bevel?
Darrell Bevel.
This is a good question. I actually like this question a lot on the KD Burner account. Do you drop Minshew for quarterback like Cousins or Stafford given the Chark injury? And Jake, I know you're a Minshew guy and I'm a Minshew guy.
I'm so tired of the Minshew stuff.
Because he can run. But I think without Chark, this is a legitimate question at this point. Does that bring him down to the level of Cousins or Stafford?
It does. But go pick up Stafford or Cousins to stream this week and don't drop Minshew. Minshew, 20 points in 4 of the other 5 games.
There you go.
Well, there's illness. So, what is illness?
I don't know. I think if you even have a sore throat, they're keeping you out now. I was reading that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but you can be fine. You get 2 days of test. And so the thing is if
man, we still love you, man. We still love you.
With same thing with Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham got sent home because of illness. They just want to make sure. They're just doing their precautions. Basically, all these teams are starting to panic because, we should take this seriously. And as soon as you look like you're sick, they're sending you home to get the 2 negative tests before you're allowed to come back so other players don't possibly get infected.
You know what I found very interesting? Lindsey Jones, the Athletics, Lindsey Jones tweeted this out. They were talking to the doctor on the conference call, and he said something like, the best way to prevent this is by wearing masks and social distancing. And it's like, okay, it's good to hear, I guess. But it's kind of neat. Like in this little microcosm, this little world of the NFL, nothing's being transmitted team to team or on the field or anything. They're being precautious like that. It's just like wear masks. And I don't know. It's just funny to hear it from
hanging out aside. I still think that they should have figured out something to play with. I know it would have been a little bit tough, but you could have done. If you think about it, go back to who was the defensive lineman, Justin Tuck. He had the grid on his mask that was miniature. I'm not saying that would have helped. I'm saying, but you could have sealed off the front and you can still breathe from underneath. I know it's a little bit more restrictive, but if anybody's wore a motorcycle helmet or any type of helmet like that, you know what it's like.
I've never worn a motorcycle helmet.
You've played paintball?
No, come on, Jake.
What even come on?
Why am I going to play paintball? I play laser tag. Next question.
Hold on. You come out and so like high and mighty, like I've never played paintball. I'm a mature man, and then you're like, but I play laser tag.
I'm just baiting you, Jake. I love paintball. Edelman or Lamb at flex?
Lamb. I'll go with Lamb.
Right,
Andy Dalton, and Andy Dalton's going to be a step down from Dak, but it might not be as bad as people think because there's twofold. The defense is still terrible. But Andy Dalton throws more interceptions than I think some people realize over his career.
I would say he was like 204 versus 118. And I remember watching these Andy Dalton games back when I was at CBS. Dave Richard, huzzah!
Huzzah!
Huzzah! Where I think he had like 2 5-interception games. He might have had 3 in a row. He had like a crazy run where he had like 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 5 interceptions. Like Andy Dalton really like messes with you.
Yeah. So that point is Andy Dalton could be the Blake Bortles situation where he's creating his own necessity to throw more.
Jake, I had a question here on my phone from a friend that I didn't want to answer because I'm sure I'd mess it up. So I want to ask you if that's cool.
That's fine. Are you just going to check the link up there?
Yeah, I think everyone should check the link. Theathletic.com/cheat sheet gets you, it's not $1 anymore, but there's a discount. There might be, I don't know. It changes every time you click on it, but it's probably a very good discount, and you get a lot of good stuff. Cancel anytime. Would you drop Deontay Johnson for Deebo Samuel for long term right now?
No.
So you'd rather have Deontay Johnson? But I think the advice would be, let's find someone else to drop for Deebo, though.
Also, yes. Find a way to get Deebo, but do not drop. See, there you go. Do not drop Deontay Johnson.
All right, I'll tell him that.
Drop out of your league if you drop Deontay Johnson.
Unless he's watching. Here's a good one. Royce Freeman. Thoughts? For a 3-game stretch, most likely, Jake, Royce Freeman's going to have some kind of value. Would you drop Dearness Johnson for him?
Yeah, sure. But what kind of value? Philip Lindsay was fine being the guy last year. I don't think Royce Freeman's going to be as valuable. This is the same situation we just went. People were trying to make Royce Freeman a thing last year. Like Philip Lindsay can handle it on his own. He's proven he can handle it on his own. He doesn't need that much of it. So bye weeks, maybe, and you hope he gets 30% of the touchdown. So yeah, in a deeper league, you can stash him because of buys, but I wouldn't get overly excited.
Here's a good one from Anasman1. Is that Matthew Berry?
No, it's a picture of Matthew Berry.
That's what I'm saying. Matthew Berry getting hugged. I can't say I got a small.
Byfield Yates.
That's cool. With all these Chark injuries piling up, best we try to move on from him in Dynasty.
For what? No.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But like, if you
would have to get fringe wide receiver 1 value. He's not quite a wide receiver 1 in Dynasty, but he's close.
So would you?
If you
let me just put it this way: all things being equal to you before last week, would you make that equal move now with Chark being like not chronically? I don't know who's the guy who was equal to him for you.
AJ Brown.
All right. Would you rather have AJ Brown now, knowing like?
I'd rather have AJ Brown in general.
Chark's got these injuries.
I'm just trying to think of guys. That's the problem. Is like you're always trying to think of names off the top of your head. But like, if you can, sure, it's the same thing as Dalvin Cook. If you can get top 5 player value for Dalvin Cook in Dynasty, this is somebody who's had injuries all the way back into college. DJ Chark, these are mounting injuries that just don't seem to stop. And I'm not trying to. For DJ Chark and how much I like him as a player, I've been a fan of his entire career, going back to college, but
he's an Old Dominion guy.
Yeah, like Travis Fulgham.
Yeah,
we gotta get him. You haven't even had a Travis Fulgham question yet.
I feel like we've talked about Travis Fulgham a lot, but
we don't talk about Travis Fulgham enough. We
got time for 2 more questions. If anyone wants to ask a Travis Fulgham question, do it now.
I was on Sirius XM last night with Fabiano Dempsey. And Fabiano was like, nobody knew who Fulgham was until last week. And I said, don't tell me nobody's known because I've been talking about it for 2 damn years.
But you didn't buy his football card.
I don't buy football cards. I told you that.
Let's get Ned Canada real quick.
If he had a Funko, I'd buy one.
Ned's been asking these questions. He's got a few in here that he's been asking about. Really, this is a question about the Tampa Bay tight end. Like, is anyone going to be a TE1 this year? Is it going to be Gronk? Could it be someone else?
No.
Who's a better trade right now? Trade bait.
Neither.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants Cameron Brate. I think it's Gronk is the answer, right?
No, it's Gronk. It's nobody. He's talking Dynasty too.
Srikanth, come on, man.
That's a band.
We're going like up and then down with Srikanth right now. Let's get one Travis Fulgham question, then we got to go, Jake. We got a company meeting at 4:00.
I'm ignoring the next question you put up there from him.
There you go. Alpha Gundas. Rest
Full
of the season, Fulgham or Hardman? Oh,
full season, it's Fulgham. If you told me the next couple weeks, you know I love Fulgham, obviously. But until Watkins comes back, I'll go with Hardman because he plays for the Chiefs.
The Hardman, man. I love Hardman, and I'm so glad I held on to him. There we go. Kevin S., man. We began with Kevin S., we end with Kevin S. with the Adrian Peterson update. Thank you all for joining us. If we didn't get to your questions, hit us up again we'll be here for an hour and a half on Sunday. Not me, but Derek Van Riper, Jake, Hall of Famer Brandon Funston, Michael Beller's here. We're going to have a beat writer with us. It's amazing, and it's fun, and everybody loves it.
Why'd you put Kyle up there, Stafford?
What? I didn't even notice I clicked that one. So I was clicking the Kevin one off, and it moved. There you go. All right. Do you want to answer it? You said Stafford?
I said Stafford.
All right. Thanks, Jake. This kind of guy Jake is. He loves everybody.
Except for the guy with the Fulgham.
Hal, we love you too. Thank you all for joining us. We hope this is somewhat helpful. If you like what you're seeing and hearing and whatever, you can read Jake at theathletic.com, athletic.com/cheat sheet. We'll get you a discount, but you can just basically Google Jake's name, find it. Now I'm the one with the lower lip. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We love you very much. We'll see you next time.